सहज श्वेत है धाम, तेज पुंज सत्पुरुष है, तह हंसन विश्राम।
VYGOS is Vihangam Yoga Global Online Satsang, which is scheduled every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Those who would miss to attend the morning session can listen to the broadcast replay on Sunday evening at 4:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. The aim of this forum is to give the entire world an opportunity to learn the ancient science of meditation and benefit from this pious service inspired by Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, the pioneer of Vihangam Yoga. If you are interested in learning the technique or want to conduct a program at your place, and for any inquiry related to it, please feel free to write to us at info@vihangamyog.org. That is info@vihangamyoga.org.
Jai Sadgurudev to everyone. Welcome to VYGOS Forum. This is Subhash Chandra from Singapore, and I am the host for today. Today, we have a very interesting topic to be discussed. Does meditation change you? I think it is very much important to know and investigate from inside if you are meditating or if you are trying to meditate, what is the objective of the meditation? Today, we will discuss in more detail about the changes which one can feel while doing meditation and whether each and every individual is having some change in his daily life, personal life, or otherwise because of doing meditation or not. We will discuss this more today in today's forum. But before we start, it is mark of our undying tradition to invoke the Sadguru at the beginning of this occasion to bless us. So let us immerse ourselves in his thoughts and pray to him to eradicate our differences. With this, I would like to have the Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan for all of us to listen properly. Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan.
आज स्वागत नित्य गुरुवर संत शुभागम आइए, अध्यात्म विद्या दिव्य ज्योति सोमरस बरसाइए। दोष दूर गुण दूर करके शुद्ध हंस बनाइए, भेद गम गति ज्ञान गर्जन शक्ति द्वार हटाइए। खुले द्वारा शब्द सागर भक्त जन अनहवाइए, जन सदा फल विश्व शिक्षक शान आन बचाइए, शान आन बचाइए। विश्व शांति नाम मंगल परम गुरु को ध्याइए, वर्ग द्वंद्व शांति दूर कर भाव भेद मिटाइए। सार्वभौम समष्टि सत्ता त्यात्मराज बनाइए, वेश भाषा भाव जगमय ज्ञान पर दर्शाइए। समृद्धि सुख शांति धरातल स्वर्ग भूमि बनाइए, विश्व शिक्षक जन सदा फल नीति स्वर अपनाइए। नीति स्वर अपनाइए।
Our today's topic is, does meditation change you? Three lessons from a seeker. If you have any question, please type it in slido.com/vygos or provide your question on the WhatsApp number +1 646 653 4926. In our today's session, we have our panelists from various different countries, including Australia, India, and USA. We have Rekhaji, Shekhar Kishorji, Abhinavji, and Raghavendraji. We will talk to them separately, one by one, in different sections. Our today's session is definitely about meditation and the experience from meditation. Meditation is a practice, we all know, which brings massive benefits to all of us. But to what extent it changes us, we need to investigate. And we'll talk more about these investigations through a seeker. Our next section is about Swarved. Swarved is a very unique book. In fact, this is the encyclopedia of spirituality. Swarved, the word, is made up of two different words, Swah and Ved. Swah means myself, the self, and the supreme self as well. And Ved means the knowledge. So basically, Swarved gives us the knowledge about self and beyond that as well. It was composed by His Holiness Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj during his meditative state, and he wrote everything of his personal experience, personal spiritual experience during the state of consciousness, during the state of conscious samadhi. So let us hear some of the couplets from Swarved along with the meaning of it. And I would like to invite Shekhar Kishorji from Australia, who has been dedicatedly investing his time and his efforts in Vihangam Yoga meditation, as well as some more associated things. Shekhar Kishorji, Swarved couplets.
Thank you, Subhashji. Good morning, everybody. As Subhashji explained, Swarved is all about the spiritual experiences of Sadhu Sadafal Devji Maharaj, the spiritual master, who gave us the science of Vihangam Yoga for all of us and our benefit. I'm going to share few of the couplets and their meaning. Before I start on anyone, it's very important for us, for all seekers who have joined us and who are listening to this session, is to understand that human life has got two distinctive aspects which defines our happiness and peace. One is the physical aspect and the spiritual aspect. So the couplets which I'm going to read is directly related to them. आसन है तन शांति का, मन शांति अभ्यास, अनुभव आत्म शांति को, जाहि छुटे अभ्यास. It is essential to practice physical exercises, yogic exercises, and the prescribed postures and the breathing exercises for our physical health. The asanas and pranayamas are so important and so well known across the entire humanity nowadays. Everybody understands the importance of it. However, we need to remember that the benefits which we get from that is more physical health, physical peace. For mental health and inner peace, it is essential to practice meditation. It is through the spiritual practice of meditation or sadhana that a seeker is able to elevate himself or herself beyond the realm of materialistic thinking and attributes and find that inner peace and stability within ourselves. In, then Swamiji explains when we talk about meditation, there are various interpretations of meditation people have in this world. So Swamiji's next couplet gives us more clarity. इंद्रियों से ना ही साधन प्राण से चित मन से ना ही साधन ना ही बुद्धि महान से. Here Swamiji is explaining that when you talk of meditation, please be very clear that a meditation or any meditative practices done with the indriya or our organs, which is the gyan or the sense organs, which are eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and our skin, or through our karma organs or the action organs, the arms, legs, buttocks, genital organs, and our voice, or the inner organs, the man, buddhi, chit, and ahankar. None of these practices or any meditative practices which are based on them is not true meditation. He says that प्रकृति का आधार तजी स्वज्ञान से साधन चले कह सदाफल योग दुर्लभ वर विहंगम सतफले. What it means is that a true meditative practice only begins when a spiritual seeker is able to elevate his consciousness beyond this practical world. It is only then you understand the real meaning of meditation and you get the real benefit of that. Now, Swamiji explains that, and this is very important for every seeker to know, that meditation is not something anyone can pick up from anywhere and just start practicing. Guru bin koi sadhan nahi, ज्यों केवट बिन नाव ग्रंथि देखि निज बल करे विघ्न होय दुख पाव. Here Swamiji is explaining that no meditative practice could be realized without the guidance of a Sadguru or the one who can not only initiate you into the ultimate science of Brahmvidya meditation, but also guide you at all steps in your spiritual progress. A meditative practice without a guru is like being on a boat which is drifting on its own in the river or the ocean without a boatman who can steer and row it in the right direction. How can one realize and arrive at their own destination? Those who practice physical asanas just by looking at a book can never learn it properly. And actually, without understanding it from a guru, they may be actually hurting themselves because they don't really know the practical application of the postures and what are the preventative measures or the precautions you have to take in practicing any sadhana. In a similar way, a spiritual seeker must find a true guru who has the complete mastery and knowledge of the spiritual science, not just the theoretical knowledge, but who may also guide you on that path. Now, the last point, which is equally important, when we start to walk on a path of meditation, it is very easy for us to get lost in it because we want everything instantly. Here, Swamiji is a very simple message for us. धीर हो ये मार्ग चलो धीर नियम रत आय स्थिर अटल विवेक में धीर परम सुख आय. This is a simple message, but a very important message for all spiritual seekers. You must walk the path of meditation practice with absolute determination by being disciplined in your thoughts and the meditative practice as prescribed by the spiritual master. The practitioner achieves his or her goals and finds the inner peace and balance within themselves. You should never expect the results overnight. I will stop here and hand over back to Subhashi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shekhar Kishorji, for the couplets from Swarved. Few of the points from here, everyone could have noticed. The basis of meditation is very important, whether it is being done through the body, the mind, the inner organs, or how exactly the meditation is being done. The ultimate objective is the mental health as well as spiritual elevation, for which determination and discipline is prime to focus on. That's what we just now learned from Swarved, recited by Shekhar Kishorji. One more thing, we have been trying to understand what different topics we can have at different sessions. So on the screen, probably you can see a QR code where we are asking for your feedback in a form of small survey. For those who are not able to see the screen, you can note down the QR link. It is https double slash colon double slash bit dot do slash vygos dash survey survey 1 we would like to hear from you on the basis of your thinking in this feedback. Now, moving towards our next section, the discussion with our expert today. From all these things, whatever we have just heard, it is very much true that meditation brings massive benefit, and it does change our life to certain extent, but there are certain prerequisites, as we heard from Sorve, that determination and proper discipline is very important. And now, moving forward, I would like to invite our today's speaker, Mr. Abhinavji, who is basically based in Australia and is a software engineer. He has been practicing Vihangam yoga meditation since his childhood. And today, he will be sharing 3 of his lessons from his own practice of Vihangam yoga meditation. Welcome, Abhinavji, on this forum. And now I'd like to hand over the forum to you to say about how does meditation change you, in which way you have felt the changes, and what are the 3 prime lessons from your side, Abhinavji?
Thank you very much, Subhashji. Thank you for everyone for having me today. Welcome and greetings to everyone from around the world. So today's topic is very dear to my heart. The question that I asked at the very beginning 10 years ago was, I'm being asked to meditate. What is the value proposition? What changes can I expect? Does it really change you, or what is the process here? And I've personally hit a pretty interesting milestone in my life recently, which is I started practicing meditation exactly 10 years ago in July of 2009. And since then, I've been very lucky that I haven't dropped my practice for a day. And that's meant that I've spent about 10 minutes in the morning and evening practicing Vihangam Yoga meditation. And in reflecting on it, it's been very interesting and very unique. I grew up in Sydney, Australia, where we're exposed to many different ways of looking at the world and thinking about the world. And I remember when I was much younger, it's not like I'm much older now, but I remember when I was much younger, my life was very different. I remember I was probably a little bit confused about what I wanted to do with my life, as you are when you're younger. I remember I would have disagreements with the people I loved and care about, such as my parents, my younger brother. And as time has gone on, I've realized that a lot of those things have changed. And in reflecting on these things, I've come to realize that there's 3 things which meditation has really given me, which I wanted to share with everyone today. So I hope you'll bear with me today and find it interesting hearing about what I've learned. So When I began on this path of meditation, really what I first want to understand was how do we define it in one sentence? Albert Einstein very famously said, if you can't explain something simply, you do not understand it as well as you can. And, in my journey over the last 10 years, I've been constantly seeking a way in which to define meditation for myself. And obviously, learn from the master as well as all of the people who have given me guidance. And I've arrived at a very simple way of looking at it, which has helped me in many ways. When someone says the word meditation to me, I really look at it as any practice which assists you in your ability to observe yourself. And, this is a pretty loaded sentence. It has a couple of things in it. But the key word is observing yourself. And, as we kind of learn in the modern world, observation is one of the keys to, learning about something. If we look at the scientific model, when we try to derive theories about physical phenomena, such as, say, the theories of motion, the theories of quantum physics, it's very interesting because we have an observer, which is usually the scientist or the person undertaking the study. We have an apparatus or the tools, the methodology by which we look at something outside of us. So we look at a system that is external, that is physical. And by observing the system, we come to derive an understanding of how that system works. And we can start to do very interesting things. We can start to understand the behavior of that system. We can start to optimize that system. Myself, I'm an engineer. I constantly look at systems, and my job is to optimize them, to look at how efficient they are. Are they wasting time? Are they wasting performance? And it's a very interesting kind of way of looking at things. You're looking into something and trying to understand it. And the interesting thing about meditation is, in meditation, the observer is you, the system that you're observing is you, and the tool which you're using is meditation. So it becomes a very interesting model, and it becomes a very uncomfortable model because, if we were to compare two things, the last time you looked at your phone and the last time you really took a moment to look back at yourself and observe yourself, you probably find it to be astonishingly different, because we live in a world where everything is very fast paced and there's an information overload. And so, in meditation, what we see is we, as the observers, are trying to look back at our own self. And in doing so, we have a very uncomfortable experience at first. For me, I found that I was alone with my thoughts, and I would just, start to realize how fast my mind is moving, how many thoughts I'm having, how many wasteful thoughts I'm having. And it was a very astonishing experience, a very unique experience. And, I think one of the things which I very much learned early on was this discomfort is important, because looking back at yourself is arguably the only way you can improve yourself. And so I took it upon myself to continue on this process. And in the last 10 years, as I've gone along on this path, I've actually started to look forward to those 10 minutes in the morning and evening when I can just sit down and really observe myself and seek to understand myself better. And that really takes me to the 3 lessons which I have kind of come upon as I've progressed along this path. In short, meditation puts you in certain states of mind, in certain states of consciousness, and it gives you certain intuitions and certain capabilities. The first of these is self-awareness. And the way that I really look at self-awareness is the ability to look back at yourself. So you're not changing anything about yourself. You're not, you're not trying to, for example, stop your anger. You're simply observing it. So you're aware of your anger and you become self-aware. So you're looking back at yourself. The second kind of very organic step, or the second lesson, was the lesson of self-control. So, we often hear that meditation is a great way to achieve a sense of self-control. I would argue that the first step is self-awareness. So first we become aware of where we are, what we're feeling, why we're feeling those things. And then the next step becomes controlling that. So the ability to direct ourselves, which is how I would define self-control in my own experience. The ability to direct yourself. So with these two tools already, you can see that we can do a lot of very interesting things with our life. We can be aware of what we're feeling. Maybe we're starting to feel angry, but then we decide, okay, I don't want to express this anger in this way. Instead, let me take a decision and a choice to express it in this way, let's say. So this kind of process of being aware and then controlling ourselves is very empowering. It's this interplay between self-awareness and self-control. And as I mentioned, it gives you a lot of interesting capacity. You can really start to direct your life in a certain way. And kind of using these two things, we then arrive at the third lesson, which is the lesson of balance. So balance in my kind of experience has been the ability to look back at and direct yourself per your wishes and desires. So let's say I'm a student and I want to balance myself toward a certain lifestyle. If I have the tools of self-awareness and self-control within me, then I can very easily start to see ways in which I can shape my life in a certain way. And this becomes very important for all of us because, we all have specific goals, specific, things we want to achieve in life. And in order to arrive at those things, we need to take a certain decision or a certain way of living into consideration. So for a sports person, their definition of what they want to do in their life and what they want to do day to day will be very different to, say, a person who is, say, an engineer by profession. But, these three things, self-awareness, self-control, and balance, they are very organic steps from what I've seen in the path of meditation. And it really brings me to one key question, which is the question for today. These are the three lessons from myself, the seeker. Does meditation change you? I've just spoken about these three things and how meditation allowed me to come upon these things, but arguably meditation did not change me. I would actually argue meditation gave me the tools by which I could direct the change in my own life. And that is a very key difference. Meditation is not you sit down, you get up, and you're a different person. Meditation is you sit down, you start to develop these tools within yourself of self-awareness, self-control, and balance. And you are then in control. You are empowered to change your own self. And there is nothing more freeing than that, more liberating than that. And, we can talk about these three things all day. But the short of it is meditation gives you back control of your life. And it makes you feel like you understand yourself better, but it also makes you feel more sensitive to those around you because you really start to dig into what it means to be a human being and what it means to live in the world. And so meditation does not change you. It gives you the means by which you can change yourself. And as we heard about earlier, this whole process is not done in solitude. There is always a guide. And, having grown up and lived in society where, it's all about individuality, you want to become the person you want to be. And you are empowered to do those things by your own self, by your own work, working hard, going towards the goals you want to achieve. But arguably, if you want to climb Mount Everest, the most sensible thing you can do is go to a person who's already climbed Mount Everest and get guidance from them. Learn from their experiences, learn from the mistakes maybe that may, or the obstacles that come along the path. And in my mind, there is a person, there is a master who has climbed Mount Everest in every way possible. And so no matter where you start, no matter what stage of Mount Everest you're at, you can go to this person and seek guidance. And, I think this is very important because the difficulty of looking back at yourself is that, as I said, it's uncomfortable. And at times you can start to wonder who you really are. And without kind of a light, without a sense of guidance, without a person who can tell you this is who you actually are, it can sometimes be very confusing and very perplexing to go on this journey alone. And the metaphor we heard earlier of being on a boat in the ocean and, kind of aimlessly wandering and meandering, that is very much what it feels like. I remember I spent about 2-3 months at one point just doing a little experiment. The experiment I did was I am going to eradicate all sense of ego from myself. And the experiment was just that simple. Anytime I would say within my mind, I did this, I would replace that word with something else. I would try to remove myself from the equation completely. And as I went along this path, I realized that I was starting to kind of lose my own sense of who I was. And I was starting to lose my own sense of, what the boundaries were between who I was and what the world was. And that is when I realized, I always had an intuition about the importance of a master. But in this little arc of a story, in this very insignificant, if you could call it, small experiment, I realized even more greatly how important it is to have someone who can guide you. Because this journey, going into the depths of your own self, is one which has to be, in accompaniment, in conjunction with, together with someone who can direct you, who can guide you. And for me, that person has become my master. And I could talk about what the master has done for me, all day. But the short of it is, he's given me a way to direct myself. He's given me a path, which is something that I have personally come to understand and come to admire. And that is very important because, we live in a world where we are encouraged to be skeptical about things. And that is a very important process. I would actually say if you're skeptical while listening to me speak, you are doing something very good for yourself. Because if you are just going to listen to what I say and agree with everything, even though you haven't experienced those things, then the only thing you're going to get from this is that, what he's saying is true. And that is exactly what the truth is. When in fact, it is just my own interpretation of the experiences that I've had. So one of the things which we all encourage in Vihangam Yoga is walk the path and experience it for yourself. I live in a household where everyone around me has meditated for a long period of time. But comfortingly, I was never pushed into meditating. I was encouraged, give it a try, and I did. And 10 years on, I can very clearly say that these 3 lessons have shaped the way in which I live my life now. And even if the people around me stopped meditating today, I would still continue because I see the benefits for myself. So the last thing I'll talk about before I wrap up is this last lesson of balance. Everyone arrives at a different definition of balance in their own life. But in spirituality, what I've learned is that balance has to be structured in a certain way. It has to align with certain principles. And the reason why these principles are important is because they define what it means to be human. And I'll kind of leave it there. I'll leave it open for you all to think about. What are the principles which you want to use or you want to align yourselves with. For me, those principles are the principles of, tolerance, forgiveness, kindness, patience, and an array of others. But at the end of the day, the key principle to keep in mind is that we are all trying to climb Mount Everest. And at the top of Mount Everest, in the spiritual pathway, is an understanding of self. Without this understanding of self, living in the world is a very difficult thing to do, because inevitably at some point in your life, in our lives, we will face a sense of confusion and a sense of, where am I going? Why am I doing this? And without some kind of reflection, without some kind of direction, it can be very difficult to answer these questions. If I was to go back 10 years and talk to a younger version of myself, all I would say to him is, yes, life is confusing and it doesn't get any less confusing. But there are certain things you can do, certain things you can invest in, which give you an appreciation for what you currently have and give you an idea of what may be good to have in the future. With that, I'd like to wrap up, and I'll just mention these 3 lessons again. Self-awareness, the ability to look back at yourself. Self-control, the ability to direct yourself. Balance, the ability to look back at yourself, be self-aware, and then direct yourself through self-control, all in alignment with a certain set of principles. Meditation does not change you. It gives you the means. It empowers you to direct the change within yourself. With that, I'd like to end. Jai Sudev, and back to you, Subhashji.
Thank you very much, Abhinavji. Your words were so inspiring and so much of interesting words you have used. You mentioned specific few things, and in your 3 lessons, what I noted out, which you summarized as well, the self-awareness, self-control, and the balance. These are the 3 basically lessons which actually empowers any individual, and these should not be just in 1 day or 2 day thing. It's actually organic growth. To understand yourself better, look back, observe yourself on a regular basis, and 10 minutes of meditation on a daily basis in the morning and evening you have been doing since last 10 years. You mentioned since July 2009, and you have never dropped a single time the meditation. This is so incredible to hear that. And you also mentioned about the guidance, the importance of the master, the guru. We'll talk about these things more with one of our another panelists. But before that, let us move towards the bhajan. And the bhajan is from Rekha ji from USA. This bhajan is basically again folding our thoughts towards the importance of guru, the guidance, how the presence of a guru, the master, eradicates our non-knowing the knowledge, means basically the ignorance is more important to understand. So from this bhajan we would understand and know why and how in someone's life the presence of master is important, and how he can elevate our life from one to another side. Rekha ji from USA for the bhajan.
Thank you, Subhasji, and Jai Sadgurudev, everybody. Today's bhajan is बिना सदगुरु के सुमिरन के नहीं जीव को करारी है. With the help of this bhajan, Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj is awakening the soul shackled in this mortal world. Sadguru Dev says, O soul, don't forget the pain of birth and death and lose yourself in worldly pleasures. You prayed to God while in mother's womb. Recall that and every breath worship to the Lord Almighty to get free from these shackles, else you will suffer a lot of pain in this world. So let's hear the bhajan. बिना सद्गुरु के सुमिरन के नहीं जीव को करारी है। बिना सद्गुरु के सुमिरन के नहीं जीव को करारी है। गर्भ में दुख पावता भजन प्रभु की सकारी है। गर्भ में दुख पावता भजन प्रभु की सकारी है। भय जब गर्भ से बाहर, भय जब गर्भ से बाहर कौल को तू बिसारी है। बिना सद्गुरु के सुमिरन के नहीं जीव को करारी है। भजन सुंदर है सो त्यागा विषय के सुख में जारी है। भजन सुंदर है सो त्यागा विषय के सुख में जारी है। सुतवित नारी में भूला, सुतवित नारी में भूला भजन तजी बन अनारी है। बिना सद्गुरु के सुमिरन के नहीं जीव को करारी है। श्वासो श्वास हरि सुमिरो कुशल तब ही तुम्हारे हैं। श्वासो श्वास हरि सुमिरो कुशल तब ही तुम्हारे हैं। सदा फल मुक्ति हो जग से, सदा फल मुक्ति हो जग से नहीं तो दुख भारी है। बिना सद्गुरु के सुमिरन के नहीं जीव को करारी है। बिना सद्गुरु के सुमिरन के नहीं जीव को करारी है। बोलिए सद्गुरु देव की जय। ओवर टू यू सुभाष जी।
Thank you very much, Rekha ji. As always, your voice is so melodious, and hearing bhajan from you is always so soothing. So, coming back to our topic, does meditation change you? We just heard Abhinav ji from Australia about his experience and 3 lessons from his daily basis practice or since last 10 years. Just to summarize one more time, his 3 lessons are basically self-awareness, self-control, and balancing through organic growth, which empowers us to understand ourselves better, and we can connect ourselves through observation during the meditation. Thank you very much, Abhinav. Now we have Raghavendra ji also in question and answer session. Welcome, Raghavendra ji, on this forum. Abhinav ji will also be there. We are having some questions, and depending on our time, I'd like to ask some of the questions to both of you. So, Raghav ji, first to you, maybe quickly on your experience and understanding basis. Abhinavji mentioned that meditation doesn't change you. It is basically a means, a tool by which one can change himself or herself. So meditation is a tool. Meditation doesn't change. It's a tool which empowers the individual to change the self. So on the basis of your experience, Raghavji, and your own practices, can you please throw some light on how meditation has been helpful and beneficial to you in your daily life as well as on your spiritual side?
Thank you, Subhashji. So that's a very interesting takeaway that we've gotten from Abhinavji's presentation on Vihangam Yoga meditation. The interesting aspect that we're discussing currently is meditation doesn't change oneself. It gives you the tools to change yourself. And that is something I believe that is part of the journey, and a practitioner of Vihangam Yoga meditation who has been consistent would surely feel this at some point of time. So it's like meditation would be like scaling Mount Everest, to borrow Abhinavji's analogy. When you're going up Mount Everest and you suddenly stop to meditate for, say, a number of days, for whatever reason, the problem is that you might be stuck at a certain point, but in meditation you regress. There could very well be points where you'll see that, okay, I have climbed up to, say, 50 meters, now I'm up to 30 meters. Because the gravity of Maya, there is this gravity of all the external forces of the material environment that keeps pulling you down. So to keep up with your achievements, with your experiences, you need to keep walking, or you need to keep to keep up and to keep getting away from the gravity and the effects of the material world. So when you're doing this, you will indeed find that meditation will give you meditation under the guidance of a master, I would say. So we're talking about climbing Mount Everest. There are a lot of risks. If you don't know how to climb the mountain, if you've got the wrong master, you could well end up in a crevasse. You could well fall down the mountain from the top. That is something that we need to also consider very, very seriously. So the most important thing is you need to have a master who's done it every way possible, and he has completely mastered the mountain in all aspects, right? So this is very, very important. Once you have the right master and you're following in his footsteps, in the guidance that he's giving you, you will start to experience a point where you find that meditation gives you all the tools, and you are able to direct your life, not as if it is being thrown about by the carefree forces of Maya, but you are able to direct it according to the principles that the master wants to take you. You're able to, for my own example, I would say, I have been in a job for the last 10 years, and I wanted to direct myself in a different way. So meditation gave me the tools to make that jump from outside my comfort level, where I was in an industry association, and into the world of consulting, strategic consulting, which is a very, very big change for me. And it is indeed, for the past 3 months, it's been very challenging and very difficult, but I'm learning the ropes. And meditation is what I'm relying on to make this mind shift work for me. So, like Abhinavji was talking about, that this engineering perspective where he's optimizing things. So I've moved from one perspective in industry to another, where I'm also looking at now optimizing things. And for me, as an economist, that is as something that I'm using meditation to look at the engineering perspective, because I work in the renewable energy sector, And normally I would never have been able to make this jump, but meditation has given me the tools to become more self-aware. So you can't control something that you're not aware of. So the first thing is to be more self-aware, to be aware of yourself, and then you're able to also judge how you link to the outside world. You can also be more aware of outside things, and then you start to take control to direct yourself in a certain way, exactly like Abhinav ji said. Over to you, Abhinav ji and Subhash ji.
Thank you, Raghavji. Avinaji, I have a question to you. Um the question is basically, do you think really that meditation change the way of thinking, or probably the personality of someone?
Yeah, thank you, Subhashji, and thank you, Raghavji, as well. It was very interesting to hear about your experiences as well. I would say, meditation, by becoming more self-aware, we kind of are able to expand our horizons more. And what I mean by that is, if you have defined yourself in a certain way, say as an engineer, and you think in a certain way, meditation, in my experience, gives you the flexibility and the kind of the more precise word with the malleability. So the ability to shape and to change shape. It gives you these two things within yourself. So if you decide, okay, I want to become a designer now, or as Raghavji was saying, he was an economist and now he's going into a more kind of engineering stream of thought, then since you're building up these tools within yourself through meditation of self-awareness, you become very clear on the way that you work, and then you compare that to the way in, say, you want to work. So we're always a work in progress as human beings. For myself, I'm still trying to learn a really good way to schedule my life so I can do lots of different things that I'm interested in. And these different things require different ways of thinking, different kind of touches of personality and different forms of personality. Some require me to be more introverted, some require me to be more extroverted. And, you know, the comforting thing that meditation gives me is kind of a way in which I can look at myself and then compare it to where I need to be. And since I'm malleable through meditation, I can then, shape myself in that way. So I'd say meditation allows you to change your personality, yes, but it also allows you to come upon your true personality. So, I know for myself that I love people, I love being, extroverted, but I also know that I need time to myself at times, that I need to be able to kind of be with myself, think about my life, think about the world, and kind of philosophize a bit. So it's kind of allowed me to shape my personality, but also to understand my personality, to understand what makes me work, and to optimize that and change that where I need to. So thank you, Subhashi. I'll pass it back.
Avinaji. Raghavji, Avinaji mentioned that he had been practicing Vihangam Yoga meditation since quite long, 10 years. One of the question is very much linked to that, which is asked by Kiran Prasadji. And the question is, I want to know how to improve my daily routine in a spiritual life. So, Raghavendraji, you have been Vihangam Yoga meditation practitioner since quite long. I'd probably like to ask you, based on your experience, what would you suggest, Kiranji, about improving the daily activity or routine as far as the spiritual life is concerned?
Right. So, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, so I've logged in from a different phone, and my.
A little bit of echo is there, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Right. So, to make the changes in daily routine, the question on Slido, I
Yes,
would
just to
think that
repeat, just to repeat one more time the question. The question is how to improve the daily life routine as far as the spiritual elevation or spiritual development is concerned.
correct. So, just like we had discussed, can you hear me, Subhashji?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go
I'm
on.
so sorry. The connectivity issues at my end this morning. So, I'll get back to the question. Uh, so, the question talks about changes in daily routine and, like you said, alleviation of yourself in spiritual life. The three pillars that we always look at, and in fact, the four pillars rather, were satsang, seva, sadhana, and swadhyay. When we look at the company of people, of like-minded people who are in a pursuit, in a spiritual pursuit under the guidance of a fully accomplished master, that is satsang. Seva is when we work towards, you know, not just that particular spiritual goal, but anything that helps achieve that spiritual goal. So you could be hosting a session at your home, or you could be helping someone else host. You could be indirectly hosting, you could be spreading the word around. That would be seva. Then would be swadhyay, which means you could be reading up on something that empowers you in such a way that yes, you can make out the difference. You know that you are here and you need to get to another point. So you need to make those changes in your routine. You need to understand, you get the ability to understand that, a theoretical ability, and the practical ability will come from sadhana. Sadhana means actually sitting in the meditation practice and calming your mind. You know, when the mind is more still than it was before, from a previous state, you're able to see new things. You're able to see things from a different perspective. And like Abhinavji said, you're able to see yourself from the outside, you could say, like a second or third party perspective. Then only are you able to control. When you become more self-aware, when you're able to get that different perspective, then you're able to make those changes in the daily routine that the questioner on Slido has asked us. Otherwise, you're being pulled along the forces, uh, and you're just another just particle in the river that's being floated along with no sense of direction. So the sense of direction comes from awareness. You seek to control it along a certain principle that the master has given you. Over to you, Subhashji.
Thank you very much, Raghavji. Very rightly said. It's meditation is one of the practical aspects through which one should be engrossed in his or her daily life, which would definitely bring lots and lots of uh, positive changes in the life. Maybe that can be linked with the peace of mind, the happiness. Maybe the hidden potential will regenerate again. Um, and there are lots of many other things. To honor the time, probably we would have to stop the question and answer. There is one more question though, but I believe this particular question can be taken as a whole one session. And the question is about the lifestyle of a Vihangam yogi. I think right now we are not going to discuss about this particular question, but probably in one of the next sessions we would be discussing specifically the life of a Vihangam yogi. Thank you very much, Raghavendraji and Abhinavji, for joining us today for this particular discussion. I would summarize this quickly, but before that, let us hear the Shanti part, and then we would summarize it.
विराग त्याग की शांति हो, उदासीनता शांति, सेवा जित शिष्य शांति हो, सद्य शांति हो शांति। हे प्रभु शांति स्वरूप हो, शांति शांतिमय शांति, शांति शांति जन शांति हो, पूर्ण शांतिमय शांति। हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व अशांति, देव सदा फल शांति में, शांति शांति सुख शांति। हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व अशांति। देव सदा फल शांति में, शांति शांति सुख शांति।
To summarize the today's discussion, the takeaways are: meditation actually is a helpful tool through which we can be more self-aware, we can have self-control, and we can have a balanced life as well. And these all will not go just in a 1 day or 2 day. We need to have an organic growth to empower ourselves. The guidance of the master, the guru, is the most important thing as far as we are talking about Vihangam Yoga meditation. With this, we would end today's session. I would like to reiterate again, please provide your feedback. The QR code had been reflected on the screen. If you want to note down the link, it is https://bit.do/vygos dash survey1 digit 1. We would like to hear more from you. Till then, meditate, practice, and be happy. Thank you very much for joining us today. And thank you to Abhinavji, Raghavendraji, Rekhaji, and Shikhar Kishorji. Jai Sadgurudev to everyone.